Coffee beans, when stored the right way, make a well-flavored, fresh, and sweet coffee drink. The reverse is the case when you don't know how to store your coffee beans. Most times, people buy coffee beans and keep them carelessly in their homes. Some grind them immediately, and while awaiting brewing, it goes bad. The methods of storage affect the way it tastes and the quality of your coffee drink. Sadly, a lot of coffee lovers don't know the best ways to store their coffee beans. It is important you know how long it stays after roasting, factors that affect it, and how to keep coffee beans the right way. Difference between ground coffee and coffee beans. Coffee beans, like most natural foods, have a certain time they can stay fresh before they become stale or go bad. The average period coffee beans can stay fresh before it goes bad is about 1 month. On the other hand, ground coffee gets bad faster than coffee beans, most times after 1 day. This is because ground coffee has a greater surface area and is thus predisposed to more oxygen than coffee beans. Oxygen catalyzes a lot of oxidative reactions in coffee beans, and this causes coffee beans to spoil faster. It is advisable to buy coffee beans that you will use for at least 1 week or at most 1 month to preserve its quality. Most importantly, you should grind them just before brewing your coffee to retain its freshness, flavor, and taste. The following are factors that affect the quality of coffee beans. 1. Method of roasting. The method of roasting is a major factor that determines how long the coffee beans will stay fresh. When it is roasted for too long until it gets darker, it can only stay fresh for a short time. Darker coffee beans go bad faster than the lightly roasted beans. This is because they are roasted beyond the first layer of the coffee beans and as such are exposed. In that state, they are more absorbent and this quickens their spoilage. This process begins as early as 4 days after roasting. There is a great possibility that your coffee beans will lose its freshness after this time, especially when they are not stored properly. 2. Light. Exposing your coffee beans to light is not a good idea, as it quickens the rate at which it goes stale. Removing the coffee from the bag it came in and storing it in transparent containers won't do your coffee good. Light reduces the natural flavors and taste as well as essential oils that come with coffee beans. When storing your coffee beans, you must always make sure you keep them in a dark container far from light. 3. Air. This is the factor that affects the quality of coffee beans the most. How do you store them far away from oxygen? This almost sounds impossible. Well, as much as you can, keep them stored in an airtight container to preserve its flavor. 4. Moisture. This is a perfect environment for mildew and mold to thrive. When your coffee beans are exposed to moisture, molds start to grow on it. Their growth process is so rapid that soon your kitchen smells and the coffee beans get ruined. Hence, it is not advisable to keep coffee beans inside the refrigerator as it can absorb moisture when not stored at the right temperature. Also, constant removal from the fridge distorts the state of the beans, or it will absorb moisture from other food stored in the fridge. If you must keep them inside the refrigerator, you must make sure they are stored in an airtight bag fit for the freezer, and you must not remove them often. This is almost impossible, so it's not the best way to store them. 5. Heat. Storing your coffee beans where they are exposed to excessive heat is not advisable. Heat increases oxidative reactions in the coffee beans, which can reduce its lifespan. As much as possible, store them away from direct sunlight or other sources of heat. The best way to store your coffee beans is in a cool, dry place away from direct sunlight or any other source of heat and air. Let's take a look at some of the best storage methods. 1. Coffee bags. Coffee bags are good for storing coffee beans. They have only one opening, which completely preserves coffee beans. This form of storage reduces oxidative reactions and all other factors. Luckily, most coffee beans come in such bags, so you don't necessarily have to change the bag. But most importantly, you must always remember to carefully seal them after each opening and keep them in a cool and dry place. They can stay for about 1 to 3 weeks without going bad depending on the conditions under which they are stored. 2. Coffee canister. This is a non-transparent vacuum-sealed container that is used to keep coffee beans. They can store coffee beans for 1 month or even more and retain their freshness under normal conditions. In the absence of coffee bags and canisters, you can use non-transparent airtight jars or containers to store coffee beans. Keep them inside your kitchen cabinets or cupboards where they are shielded from light, heat, moisture, and air. Here are some expert tips on coffee bean storage. 1. Buy quality coffee beans. Coffee beans are of different species and quality. Your best bet will be going for the very best. So, the next time you want to buy coffee beans, you should be sure it's the best quality. 2. Buy in smaller quantities. Buy coffee beans in smaller quantities that will last for about a week to preserve its taste, flavor, and freshness. 3. Get lightly roasted coffee beans. This might be hard for dark coffee lovers. If you are buying large quantities that will probably take you for a time, you should get the lightly roasted coffee beans. 4. Buy it fresh. Most people buy coffee beans that have stayed on the supermarket shelf for weeks or months. Always make sure they were recently roasted. Check the date the coffee beans were roasted at the back of the bag before you buy them. 5. Grind the quantity of coffee beans you need per time. Whole coffee beans last longer than ground coffee. Always grind your coffee beans prior to brewing. 6. Store your coffee beans in clean containers. Before you store coffee in containers, you must ensure that the container is clean and dry. Keeping coffee beans in a dirty container ruins them faster because of the essential oils coffee beans contain. 7. Roast your coffee beans. You can roast your own coffee beans. This guarantees that you're getting a great taste and well-flavored coffee at all times, and of course you will save money. Finally, do all you can to protect your coffee beans from light, air, heat, and moisture. Coffee tastes better when it is freshly preserved. However, if your coffee beans are stale, use them to make a refreshing glass of iced cold brew coffee instead of throwing them away. If you found this video helpful, drop a comment so we can know your thoughts. Also, subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you'll know once we post a new video. And check the description below for more details. Visit our website, zimcoffee.com, for more awesome coffee content like this. Thanks for watching.